Hey friends, and welcome back to another episode of Canuary Junction. If you're new here, my name is Shawn-Marie and I share all things homemaking on my channel. That includes decorating, recipes, DIY, and of course, food preservation in the form of canning. One thing I am notorious for is canning up unexpected, savory, flavorful explosions in a jar, and that's what I like to keep on hand. Who says canning has to be bland? Because it really doesn't, and there is so much we can do with it. Today, I am going to share with you my hack for making a homemade sausage. Can I just tell you, there aren't very many meats I can say I can create on my own, but sausage is one of them for sure. Now, maybe some won't consider it real sausage because there is in fact no casings involved, and maybe it isn't real sausage because we don't cure it in any way. But none of that matters because my taste buds tell me it's sausage, and that is literally all that matters. This recipe is a flavorful alternative to purchasing pre-made sausage, and it uses spices that I like and that are tailored to what I think a sausage should taste like. So, as always, this recipe is going to be available on my blog. I will include that link down below so you can go right over there, click on it, and print it off and have this for your kitchen files. But I implore you all to use my recipe as a guide. Maybe you like the exact flavor I do. Maybe you like your sausage spicier. Maybe you like it hotter. Maybe you like it sweeter. I want you to take the basic ingredients that you will find in a sausage that I will provide for you in the recipe, and I want you to tweak them for your specific taste and needs. Because maybe I'm crazy, but honestly, I find that the flavor of sausage is a very deeply personal thing. Not everybody likes it the same way. Not everybody likes it hot and sweet and in between. I'm somewhere right in between, and through a lot of trial and error, I have found that the combination of herbs I'm going to share with you is absolutely perfect and fabulous for my needs. Now, the best thing about this sausage is this is the basic recipe. From this basic recipe, you can make multiple variations. You could add some Chinese allspice and some soy sauce and create a Chinese sausage link with a little XOXO sauce mixed in there. If you add some maple syrup to it, you can have an incredible breakfast sausage. The possibilities are endless. You can add other flavor profiles to this and change it from a basic sausage to a flavored sausage in any type of a flavor that you want. That is the best part of this. I just want to show you how easy it is to do this and how absolutely flavorful it really truly is. So without further ado, I'm going to get this started, but I'm going to tell you that it's actually a 2-day process to make the sausage. And for me, right now, it's actually a 3-day process because I got interrupted, and that's totally fine. It doesn't ruin my canning game. I just put everything in the fridge until I'm ready to use it. I take it out, let it come back to room temperature, which it has, and now we are going to head down to my little vintage canning kitchen and we are going to get this recipe going. And I am so excited. But before we begin, I would totally appreciate it if you haven't already, if you would hit that subscribe button and join my little homestead over here. I share so much and you definitely don't want to be late to this party. So please smash that bell and you will always be notified when I upload new content, and you'll never have to guess because there is no rhyme or reason to when I release my canning videos. I am in my element of surprise with that with you. So I would truly love it if you would hit that subscribe button and become part of our little family. Now, without further ado, let's get this rolling and make some sausage. My preference is using half ground pork and half ground turkey. I like the ground turkey because it's on the leaner side, but I found through trial and error that you need pork because pork actually has double the fat content, and that's what makes a really good sausage. So here I'm using a pound and a half each of ground turkey and ground sausage, and I am mixing it together by hand. I want to incorporate it really good before I even add my spices to this. I want to make sure that the meats are well blended together. That is just my preference for how I like to do it. You can do it whichever way you want, but I find it best to mix the meat before you start adding the spices. Then, when it comes time to adding the spices, you are going to add traditional sausage spices such as marjoram. You're going to add fennel. You're going to add rub sage and garlic powders and onion powders and salts and peppers. And you can even add celery seed and red pepper flakes and possibilities are really endless. This is allspice you see me putting in. These are all essential flavors to sausage. And the recipe that I'm sharing with you is the basic recipe that gives you a delicious sausage flavor. But again, I really want you guys to play around and experiment doing this. It's super easy. Each time you mix it up, little by little, you will go back and take a teaspoon of it out, fry it up in a frying pan, and then you can taste it. That is the best way to play with the spices when you're creating your own sausage blends. And by cooking it up, teaspoon at a time until you get to where you want it, you're not wasting anything. You're getting exactly what you want. So now I have two bowls and I am going to use basic lard, rub it on my hands, and I'm going to take the first one that I'm going to keep traditional and I'm just going to make a nice ball with that, being sure to coat that lard all over the outside of the ball. Once that's done, I'm going to put into the container and I'm just going to use a little cellophane wrap and put it over that one and I'm on to the next. This half of the combo, I'm actually going to switch it up and I'm going to add some real maple syrup right into this mixture and that is going to give me a delicious breakfast sausage flavor. I love using it this way. I love adding the maple syrup to it. It really does bring a great flavor out to it. And I'm just going to reincorporate that back into my meat mixture. And you know what? Little more doesn't hurt because I don't measure that by anything other than love. So I add a little bit more love and we're going to mix that up as well. But for this one, I am going to use some of my leftover strained bacon grease on my hands. And that is what I am actually going to use to coat the sphere of the meat for the breakfast sausage one. And this just really gives it an amazing delicious breakfast flavor because, come on, bacon makes everything better. We're just going to drop that in and cover that in cellophane as well. And then they are both ready to go into the refrigerator. And these are going to go in the fridge for 12 to 24 hours. And the reason we do this is so the flavor can get into it and not just sit on top of it. We want it inside infused. Smells just like sausage. Our sausage has been sitting now for 24 hours in the fridge, so all of these amazing spices and flavors that we added to our ground pork and our ground turkey are now incorporated and part of the meat. So now before we can it, we're going to brown the outside. You have three choices. You can make links, you can make patties, or you can leave it in a ground state. I'm going to leave it ground. If you make links or you make patties, make sure they fit into your mason jar before you brown them. So prepare them, test it, and then we're just going to put them in a hot skillet and just brown the outside. We are not trying to cook the meat. The same with it being ground. We want to just brown it a little bit. So for ground meat, I'm probably going to brown it for about 5 to 7 minutes. If I was making links or patties, I would literally just sear it on each side for probably like a minute or two. But we're doing ours ground, so we're going to get this going. Get our pan heating up. We're going to put our sausage in there. We're going to brown the ground sausage, like I said, for maybe 5 to 7 minutes, and then I'm going to drain it really good. If you're doing links or patties, you also want to drain those really good. Pat them off with paper towels. Get all that excess grease off of there because you don't want that in your jars. Trust me, you just don't. I really wish you guys could be right here with me to actually smell this sausage ball. All of those spices that we added to it have really meshed within the meat itself, and it's like become one, which is what you want. Like you could totally add all these spices together and just cook it up, but the spices are only on the meat, they're not part of the meat. And because we left it in the fridge to meld together, they are now part of each other. And this just creates the most delicious, flavorful, amazing sausage I've really ever tasted. I'm totally not kidding. Okay, I have browned the first batch of sausage, so I'm actually going to dump this in a colander and I'm going to let it drain. I'm going to go get the second batch of sausage, which, if you'll remember, we made a breakfast flavor with maple syrup, and we made regular sausage. This is the regular. I'm going to drain this. I'm going to go get the maple sausage and do the exact same thing to that. This amazing strainer was a score at the secondhand store for $3, and I swear that is the best $3 I have ever spent in my life. You can see all of that down there. That is all fat and grease and juice that I don't want, because we're actually going to dry can these and they're going to make their own juice. So we're going to let all that come out and I'm going to go get the other one. I'm going to use the exact same pan I used for the first batch for the second batch because look, this mama's got enough on her plate during the day and I don't need to add more unnecessary dishes to the mix. I'm going to do the exact same thing with the strainer, just run it through because there's no need to dirty anything further. This canning recipe is going to be a cold pack. So my jars have been cleaned and rinsed, but then I just let them sit. So they're just kind of room temperature. My meat is cooled down to room temperature, and our water that's going to start our canner is room temperature. So we're just going to start with our clean jars and get them filled with our sausage. My goal is to leave a 1-inch headspace, and you don't want to tap it down too much, but you do want to pack it just a little bit. But don't jam it in there. That's my rules anyways. If you want to jam it, go right ahead. I personally like to ensure that the core temperature can reach the temperature it needs to safely process my meat. So let's get these filled. I used to be so nervous to do dry pack recipes because I was always like, how does this work without liquid? But it really does work. Dry pack is a thing. Don't be nervous to do this. I'm just filling my jars, tapping them down nicely, and being sure to leave that 1-inch headspace I spoke about. I also kept my sausage separate so I would know what was what. And now I am just going to take the time and fill up my breakfast sausage ones the exact same way. I got 3 regular and 3 breakfast. This isn't a big batch. This is using what I had in the freezer that needed to be used up and showing you guys how to make your own homemade sausage and the many variations you can do it in. So to keep these separate in the canner, what I'm actually going to do is on each of the breakfast sausage lids, I'm just going to put a B, and that way I will know exactly what goes to what. And that's probably the easiest way to keep it all straight because they basically look the same to me. I'm just going to use some of my white vinegar and pour that in my little dish. And then I'm just going to use a piece of paper towel and I'm going to clean the rims and the sides to make sure that there is no fat or anything on the rims that can impose anything against the seal. We want to make sure that there's nothing in the way of the seal and that the jars will seal good. Then I'm just going to put my lids on and attach them finger tight. I'm just going to do this to all 6 pints that I have ready, and I am also going to be sure that I mark the lids with the B to separate the breakfast sausage from the regular sausage, because they look exactly the same in the jars. And then once they're all done, we are ready to process. All right, guys, we have our canner sitting here. I dumped my leftover vinegar inside. I'm going to turn my element on. Everybody's tucked in the canner, ready to go, and I think that's just about one of the prettiest sights there is out there. Don't you agree? 6 pounds of meat, 3 of each, got me 6 pints. So there's about a pound of meat in there, which is perfect for making all different types of things. Now, this is not a tutorial on canning. However, a lot of you have reached out to me letting me know that you are very new to canning and very nervous. So I just wanted to let you know that I am in the works of putting together a very basic Canning 101 tutorial for you guys to hopefully help make you feel a little more comfortable and confident and dive right into this very addicting way to save food and feed your family. Right now, we are just going to let all of this come to temperature. Once the water boils, I will put my lid on. We're going to wait until we see a steady stream of steam coming out the vent. You know the drill. I'll show you as we go along. While we are waiting for everything to come to temperature together, I wanted to let you guys know I did in fact pick a color to do my little kitchen in. I picked a color for the cupboards because there's only 3 of them down there, but they do need to get painted. They just have a lot of wear and a little bit of damage from the flood. Not much, thankfully. They're in really good condition, but they do need a facelift, so we're going to do that with some paint. I picked out the floor for down here, and it is like the craziest time right now. I am in the middle of so many projects. We've begun the kitchen renovation upstairs. We are still in the process of making over the basement, which I will admit that has slowed down. We hit a snag there, but we'll pick that back up. I still have this kitchen to do, and I need to get ready for springtime on the homestead because I have a ton of new baby chicks coming, and we have a new coop coming. It's crazy. I am so busy right now, but I am so glad you guys are going to be along for this ride. Gardening's coming up, which I am super excited for. Planning the stages of everything I want and what I'm going to focus on this year, because I do container gardening and I know exactly what my needs are and what I want. I have amazing local farms nearby that I can buy bushels of anything I want from. So I don't have to worry about supplying it to feed my family. I wish I could, but it is just not something I can do. So I am a hobby gardener that is going to focus this year on tomatoes, potatoes, jalapenos, cucumbers, asparagus, my herb garden, of course, and maybe a couple surprises. We'll see. I have so much canning that I'm going to do too. And I'm not going to make it into a spoiler alert, but I have mapped out the next 3 January Junction recipes I'm going to share with you guys, and oh my goodness, you are going to love them. I will be sharing one recipe that is a beloved recipe of my dear mother-in-law who is no longer with us, and it is something I'm very excited to share with you guys. But we're doing sausage today, so let's see. Definitely getting warmer, but we aren't there yet. I have not forgotten my request from my girl on here. You love the sparkles that I always wear on my clothes. I told you about my sneakers and you want to see them, so check this out. Look at the sparkles on those bad boys. They are literally just covered in beautiful rhinestones and faux diamonds, and I love them. You asked to see them. I know this seems weird, but there you go. I am the queen of sparkly and shiny, and my husband always says, if you want to stop her dead in her tracks, just make something flicker and shine. He's not wrong. What can I say? As you can see, the water has come up to temperature. It's boiling. Now I want to put my lid on. Lock it in place. Once you see the stream of steam coming from there at a very steady pace, like a full force, we will set our timer for 10 minutes and we will let it vent full force for 10 minutes. Once that's done, I'm going to put my weight on. I'm going to let it come up to my PSI, which for my area and elevation is 11. You need to know what your specific PSI is. If you are unsure, a quick Google search will tell you exactly what your elevation and your canning requirements are. Once all of that gets there, we are going to process these pints for 75 minutes. If they were quarts, I would be doing them for 90 minutes, but they are not. They're pints. So this is a 75-minute canning session, but we have to wait for it to get there. Have you ever made homemade sausage this way? Or do you make real sausage with the casings? That would be something I would be interested in, but I have by no means any way of doing any of that. So this is the next best thing for me. It's absolutely delicious, and the best part about this is it is so versatile. You can use it in breakfast casseroles, you can use it in skillet dishes, you can do sausage and potatoes. You can do anything you want with it, which is something that I love. One thing we really enjoy having with it is with the breakfast version that has the maple syrup in it. I love to do a breakfast sausage with gravy over biscuits. It is so good. And because we're creating this, we control the flavor. I control how much of every single flavor is in there. And you can too. That's why I want you to just take my recipe as a base. Play around with this. Start little, add more as you go. Let's say you fry it up in the skillet and you try it and it's missing. Keep adding. Mix it back into the broth. Take another teaspoon of that. Fry that back up in the skillet and see how that tastes. That's how you come up with food combinations and flavor profiles that are specifically tailored to you. And that is the easiest way that I have found to sample something that is in the raw form that way, that you may not be able to test otherwise. I don't want to make up a batch and be like, well, I hope that tastes good, then go through all this work only to taste it and find that it's lacking in this or that, or there's too much of this and too much of that. I want it just right. If you do the same, you will come up with an absolutely delicious combination for yourself. Now that we have done, I have shut the element off, and I am going to let my canner naturally depressurize on its own. That basically means you do nothing. You let all of the pressure release all on its own. I think I'm going to take my sweet little Miss Emery while this is depressurizing. We'll go get chicken nuggets. Yeah, we'll go get chicken nuggets, and we will see you guys back here in a little while. By then, this will be depressurized. I will be able to open it. And can I just say, it smells so good. Do you smell sausage? Does it smell yummy? It's yummy. All right, we'll see you guys back here in a little bit. Say bye. We finished all of our lunch, and now it's time to poop out my little snuggle buggle over here. She's a little hard to get down for a nap, but having a swing in the house makes it so much easier because we can just put her in that and put on one of her favorite Disney movies that she loves, and she will just sit there and watch her movie, and the rocking motion of the swing helps put her to sleep. But none of us will ever be as cool as this baby is. I think she needs a nap, though. Huh, cutie pie? Everything has released. Always open away from your face and be mindful of the condensation. Oh, I can smell. That sausage smells so good. Look at it. Look at our delicious sausage. So good. This one's still bubbling. Oh my Lord. 6 gorgeous pints of sausage, shelf stable and ready to go. Does it get any better than that? Because I'm really thinking it doesn't. You know me, take the rings off. That is not sealed. So we have 5 sealed and 1 that's not. And the one that's not is totally fine because I'm actually going to put the ring back on it. And this one, this jar will go right in our refrigerator and be enjoyed by my husband happily. So that leaves us with 5 ready to go pints of sausage. We have 3 breakfast and 2 regular. I also have a regular for my fridge. I usually do a way bigger batch than this, but this is what I had on hand, and I wanted to show you guys how easy it was to make. This is delicious. My house smells delicious. It's amazing. This recipe is absolutely fabulous, and I really do hope you'll hop over to the blog, print this off for your recipe collection, but experiment with it. Tweak the seasonings to be exactly as you like. For the one that didn't seal that we're going to keep in our fridge, I mean, that literally just popped right off. Oh, so good. Look at that. That's some good sausage. I can totally taste the fennel, the marjoram, the sage, the garlic powder. Every spice just cohesively goes into this meat blend, creating a sausage that you can't buy this flavor in a store. Not from anybody. I don't care who makes it. That sausage is not as good as this sausage, and I do hope you will give it a try. Don't just take my word for it. Make it and see for yourself. And you all know how I love hearing how you try the different recipes. So if you do make it, drop a comment below and let me know what you thought about it. Also, you don't have to can this. I prefer to can this because I like it ready to go. This recipe can be made the day before you want to use it. You need to let your sausage sit overnight in the fridge. That's where all the flavors become one with the meat and not just in there. You want it all to be one. So I hope you really enjoyed this recipe because I really enjoyed showing it to you. And I really hope you'll give it a try because you won't be sorry. I can promise you that. Little Miss Emery has woken up from her nap and now it's time to be Nana. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me today in January Junction as we made up some delicious homemade sausage. I really hope you guys will give it a try. Use my recipe as a guide and make it exactly to the tastes you want. Add more, add less, add other ingredients, and switch that flavor profile up. If you haven't yet, I would really love for you to hit that subscribe button and become part of our little community over here. I love sharing all things homemaking and I love spending my time with you guys, and I would love for you to be part of that. And if you are here for the canning, then you definitely want to hit that notification bell. There's no rhyme or reason to when I post them. I will never tell you. They are just a big old surprise waiting to happen. So if you hit that bell, you'll never miss it, right? My baby. Well, thank you guys again so much for being with me today, and I will see you real soon. I love being a Nana. Bye!